Hey everybody, this is your boy John, aka Captain Lestat. In today's episode, we're going to be talking about Vireon Corp and of course, Lucien Crowley and all the villains in between Echoverse here, our famous Hollywood versus AI series that we've been doing so far. So again, stay tuned.
We're geeks from the multiverse. We've come to unite all geeks. Now it's time to get geeky and dive right in, 'cause we're geeks from the multiverse.
Hey, what's up everybody? This is your boy John, aka Captain Lestat. And as always with me is my good old buddy Matt, aka Mr. Grumpy Beard.
What's up, everybody?
So yes, GTFM, baby. No, that's okay. Let's try this again. GFTM. My God, I don't know what's wrong with me today. Yes, the geeks from the goddamn multiverse. Okay, that's who we are. That's who we've been doing this for so long. But yes, we're doing part 3 of AI versus Hollywood. Again, the Echoverse. You know, we're diving into the Vireon Corp. We're diving into Lucien Crowley. We're diving into all the madness of this crazy MFer, you know, or this motherfucker, because that's basically the
villains.
The villains, man. The guy who wanted to create this world of chaos. That's the wheel. Instead of the wheel of chaos, it's the world of chaos.
World of chaos.
Yeah. You know, it's just crazy though. You know, last week, you know, we talked about, you know, the Deviants and, you know, talking about Codex and the Mentor and, you know, all the other, you know, individuals in between. And now we're going to dive in deep now into the villain and why he wanted to do what he wanted to do.
AI went deep on those deviant characters too. I mean,
it's crazy, man.
Like children and ex-wives, and not just that, but I mean, you're talking tragic backstories and just deep detail.
Yeah, it's that humans, I feel like, I'm not saying we couldn't, but it would take us a while to get to that point. This only did it in a matter of minutes.
A matter of minutes. And I mean, you're talking full-fledged characters now that you can take them and apply them to the story and easily write a script from what we have right now. You could easily write a script from.
Right. And a concept. I mean, now granted, you could say, you know, shout out to GFTM to, you know, for giving us the idea.
But it's not just
the idea, but yeah.
It's not just those characters though. I mean, now you have, yes, the main deviants, but you have wives, you have children, you have ex-wives that, yes, they would also be in the movie.
Well, yeah, well, that's what I mean. And it's crazy to me, though, right, Matt? It's like, you know, even when we started to come up with, or really, I'll give you the credit. You know, when you gave me the idea, or when you talked about the idea about AI versus Hollywood, and I was like, you know, at first I was still kind of like, is that going to be a good idea? But then, like, you know, we've already done, you know, our previous one, again, I'm not... Biofracture, yes. And so, like, you're talking about that. Now you're diving into this, which is a totally different concept, totally different thing. And it's crazy.
Just wait till our next one.
No. That's why I said, I know we're not gonna talk about it yet, but yeah. No, we're really just, like, diving into this stuff. And the fact that ChatGPT really dived and really gave us a good script, a good, literally, concept for a movie, for both, really, movies. You know, and eventually, hopefully, maybe, who knows, maybe a TV show down the road.
And we're talking, I mean, when we're talking if Hollywood made this movie today, we're talking the way Hollywood used to make movies.
Yeah, because they're not doing what we're talking about has not been done at all, or at least in a very long time.
This is the way Hollywood used to make movies when movies were good.
Correct. And the fact that, you know, we're talking about this is just because when we've talked about so many times, Matt, I'm telling you, you need to get on merchandising, and you need to have you need to make the T-shirt follow the blueprint. I'm telling you, that has to be our thing. We have to make a shirt, and I need you to do it, or I'm going to come up with. Do you think?
And I would say this before we get into reading this movie, the Echoverse summary
again. Yes.
I was actually thinking about this. I didn't go to ChatGPT. I just thought of this on my own. But I was thinking, like, if we made this movie and it went to the theaters, I honestly would think this movie would easily be a somewhere between $500 to $800 million movie.
I mean, you're probably right. I would think that it could do really well. But again, the problem that you and I know we both face with this is that it has to be in a really, like, the director needs to know the true vision. the writers need to make sure that what we're giving them is actually what they're going to follow.
But this is the thing. We're directors aside, like we're saying this movie was made ideally the way we're saying it's going to be made.
So fine.
The ideal director, the ideal writers, the script was written ideally.
So fine.
The CGI, everything was done in the ideal way that we're saying it was done.
Okay, so fine. Then if it was done ideally the way that we were saying, and this is actually following the blueprint of everything we're giving them, I mean, honestly, man, I mean, I know it could be a first-time movie, but like, it could. I'm thinking even more. I'm even going to say it. I think if depending on how well it's portrayed, it could potentially hit that $1 billion mark if it was good enough to hit that. Now the problem is, me personally, like I said, the only way that you could do that possibly is like, it may not even be with this movie. Right, it could be if like this became like a trilogy or something like that, where it would maybe it delved a little further. Yeah. But again, that we'd have to consider a whole nother thing. But that's what I'm saying.
I would not give it $1 billion only because it's kind of a standalone. It's not like connected to a franchise like Marvel or.
You do realize that if it did well, then it
could be. It could be, but I was saying somewhere within the 500 to 800 million, I could see very easily for this.
Okay, so fine. Then, yes, I do agree with that assessment. I think the 500, 800 million mark is probably an ideal, location. Now, if it goes further than that, I'm just going to say, damn, because then I'd be like, wow, look at that. That's amazing.
And then very easily you'd be looking at sequels. And
then
you'd be looking at prequels, maybe TV shows.
You'd be looking at a franchise.
Spin-offs, yeah. I mean.
And it's crazy. But, I mean, again, you could do it. There is a way to do it. But anyways, let's dive into the summary real quick because I told Matt that I would do this one because I know he did it last time. He's no fun. He doesn't like to do voices, so I guess I'll try to do it as best as I can. Because Matt's like, okay, I'm just going to read it. It's whatever. Anyways, so if we haven't already heard, yes, this summary is always, going to be like if you were looking at the details of a streaming service or maybe a back of a DVD or a Blu-ray player, like a Blu-ray movie. Again, you'll know what I mean. If you see it, you understand. So here we go. The summary of Echoverse. A gripping superhero epic set in a world forever altered by a cataclysmic solar flare. As chaos erupts, a powerful fuel labeled as Deviants awaken to strange new abilities tied to their former lives. But instead of being hailed as heroes, they're hunted. At the center of it all, it's Lucien Crowley, a ruthless corporate titan who rises to power as the Purifier, rewriting reality to brand Deviants as threats. A small band of survivors, their memories fragmented, must piece together the truth and fight back for all the existence is reshaped in Lucien's twisted image. Memory, identity, and power collide in a battle across shattered timelines, where the only way to survive is to remember who you really are.
Dun, dun, dun!
Yes, we had to do that because we had to do the dramatic effect. But yes, so diving in again to, Vireon and Lucien, Lucien, and diving into that whole chaotic mind of his. And, to me, looking at a guy like this, yeah, it's your typical villain, right? The guy who wants to take over the world, wants to rewrite it in his own image. It's like the Thanos thing. And like, it reminds me of basically, I'm not saying all supervillains, but like, to a point of like, I want to, like our Kang, I'm thinking like Thanos, Kang, maybe Darkseid, or, I'm using DC and Marvel here, but like, you get the point, right? They're trying to find ways to re-image or rewrite their own, image in their way that they want to do it, right? So like Thanos with the snap, Kang wants to, go back in time and kind of do the same thing what Thanos did, so I feel like they're all taking ideas from each other, but the point is he's just like, you know what? I'm just going to rewrite everything because I have the power of time manipulation and I can just go back and rewrite things and pretend like it never happened to begin with. So again, I'm going to let, Matt over here dive in because I know he's going to make a few references to other things regarding the movie.
Yeah, I mean, this thing is pretty long, so I think we can probably break it up like we did last week.
All right, well, then I'll let you start.
So this comes straight from ChatGPT. So we kind of did a similar thing last week with I would guess, like the emotional kind of intro to the characters for the Deviants. So this is the opposite of that, but for the Vireon Corp and
More Lucien.
And kind of the backstory, if you will, and I guess their kind of point of view.
I'd say I would call it the point of view of Lucien.
Yeah. So shortly after the flare, chaos erupted across major cities. Thousands of ordinary people began transforming in terrifying, unpredictable ways. Powers emerged, some subtle, others violent, and with no warning or understanding of what was happening, panic spread like wildfire. Vireon Corporation, always postured as the guardian of order and innovation, was the first to respond. Lucien Crowley deployed his elite death squad to stabilize the situation, or so the world was told. I mean, you can see where mistakes were made at first. I mean, you deploy a squad called the Death Squad.
Hold on, but an elite death squad, not just a regular death squad, an elite.
So I mean, you can see where mistakes were made at first. You deploy an elite death squad to stabilize the situation. So in reality, what happened was a bloodbath. That's probably no surprise when you deploy a death squad.
Again, and what are they going to do? They're probably going to bring out the firing squad.
So yes, in reality, what happened was a bloodbath. The soldiers trained to eliminate threats couldn't distinguish between hostiles using their powers for violence, people in process of turning, or innocent civilians trying to get away. People were slaughtered in the streets, family torn apart, and worst of it all, it was all caught on camera. For a brief moment, the world saw Vireon for what it was, a corporation out of control. Protests erupted, government scrutiny followed. Their public image crumbled, stock prices collapsed, and Lucien was being blamed, and he was losing everything. And then, in the middle of that breakdown, he discovered his power.
So, yeah, I mean, diving into this, already, like, he's already screwed up so much that he's like, shit, how the hell do I get out of this?
I mean, I think, I don't know. I mean, obviously, yes, he would call it his death squad because I think that's kind of like maybe they weren't necessarily a death squad how we're thinking it's a death squad. Like maybe they're like, it's kind of like it's just the name that he has given them. Like they're the elite death squad because they're like,
well, it's almost like his mini army. Like his main elite leaders of the army that he has, you know what I mean, like the specialty ones. And so him doing this already, I mean, he's already in his mind is like, shit, I don't know how the fuck I'm going to get out of this now. Because before I'm going to jump in here, again, this power, as we've already mentioned in the very first episode, plays a big part in everything that he does. So with just a few carefully chosen words, a private declaration, a speech no one else remembers, Lucien rewrote reality, right? So again, this is where he discovers that he can literally change reality to his own whim. The massacre never happened, or at least not the way anyone remembers it. Now, those who were killed were classified as terrorists, right? Deviants, enemies of the people. Soldiers were hailed as heroes. The media played into it. People didn't question it because to them, it was always... it always been that way. So to me, this is he literally has the power of, I mean, yes, he has the power of manipulation / reality, that kind of thing. I'm not talking about that. It's like he controls propaganda. He controls everything that can be twisted, that can be, again, to lead it into whatever he wants it to be. So whatever the narrative is supposed to be, he's like, I got you. Hold on. And he switches it.
But I mean, I think in this moment, it wasn't like I don't think he necessarily I mean, obviously he didn't know at this point that he had this ability, but I think,
he
it
knew
was
the word.
a private declaration and a speech. Maybe he was saying in the mirror, I wish this thing never happened. These people are they're such deviants and terrorists. My people are heroes. Maybe he was saying something just out loud in his office, and then all of a sudden, like the whole entire world changed and shifted. And like the media is like, maybe he had the news on and like everything just shifted. And it's like, what the hell is going on right now?
Okay, well, I mean, I guess see that for me, it was like I was thinking that he had his own like speech with like he was actually talking in a speech, like not so much like. I mean, I guess maybe I read it wrong or the way I was looking at it.
I mean, I see a private declaration. That to me is like, it's not like he's saying a speech in public. That's like, to me, is like he could be in his office just being like,
well, no, I mean, now, yes, but looking at it now, yes, I do agree that, yes, he could be alone in his office, probably says, I wish blah, 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 because I'm sick and tired of this shit. And then all of a sudden it's like
these people are terrorists, they're deviants, like, my people are heroes. What the hell is going like?
Right, and then all of a sudden, to me, like it sounds weird, but like in my mind, you remember in the very first Iron Man, like when when the when the rocket explodes, is like right behind him, and he just puts on his sunglasses, and it's like that kind of reminds me, maybe not quite like that, but like to a degree of like what kind of happened around the world, like just like kind of did all that all over the world, and just like maybe not made that noise, but like it made it like a cool effect that all of a sudden it was just and it just like changed everything, and you're like, huh, what? And you didn't feel it, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh, and he looks at the news and he's like, the hell's going on? Like, because he's not remembering what was happening, and so that's what I kind of gather from that. But hold on, let me.
But I mean, obviously, like in the next paragraph, like,
yeah. So from there, Lucien doubled down. He began reshaping society, using his power to manipulate public memory and restructure law itself. He coined the term deviants to classify anyone affected by the solar flare. They were no longer people, no longer citizens. They were threats to peace, dangerous anomalies. There we go. Dangerous anomalies that needed to be tracked, contained, and, if necessary, erased. So again, he was literally, I mean, if we're going to compare this, I mean, he was Nazi Germany. He was like, you know what? All right, we're going to get rid of you. I mean, not maybe so much the gas chambers, but in the sense of like, hey, you know what? You're nobodies. You're basically, we're going to make sure you don't exist in any shape, way, or form. Whether you have, that you say you were married, that you had a driver's license, you were some sort of citizens, you don't have a social security, and like nothing. Like literally every right that you had, gone. Doesn't even exist anymore. And so after that, that's when Vireon built the zone, a sprawling walled-off city sector meant to hold these uncontrollables. It was branded as a humanitarian effort, a quarantine to help rehabilitate. I love these air quotes.
Yeah.
Those afflicted. But inside it was anything but. It became a prison, a war zone, and a graveyard all at once.
So yeah, let's like stop there, because you have a dude, right? Like obviously he's a CEO of a huge corporation.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if like inherently he's a bad guy at that point, right? Like he's seeing this thing happening. His office, if you see, we shared out some of the concept art from the first week of this series. His office has glass right in the front. It looks out into the entire city, right? So he can stand literally at the glass and look out into the entire city. And he can see all of these things happening. People changing, people using powers, the chaos, the screaming. He can see and hear it all. And I think that that's where he's like, I need you guys to go out there and try to stabilize this. Mm-hmm. And like, these guys just happen to be, and yes, they are his death squad, but these guys are also the COO, the CIO, information officer, the chief security officer. I mean, they're his like top 5 guys. Like they're like the board,
right?
Like they're his guys and women. Like they're not all guys, but like they're his board of directors or whatever. Like they're the other directors that are operating this company with him. And I think that was what his thing was. Like, you guys need to go out there and help stabilize what's going on out there and help the people that are dealing with these violent people that are hurting people out here. And I think that is like his motivation from the start. And yes, obviously when he figured out like I can literally change this, I think that that's where his heart really just shifts into that, like anybody that has powers, not including myself, is literally a terrorist because they have the potential of harming other people. And they're nothing but deviants and terrorists and monsters.
Hey, you know what's funny? It reminds me of a condition. What's that called? Narcissism? Or like self-centeredness.
It
Like
very well could be, but I mean, if he's looking at all of these other people as like potential,
yeah, but he doesn't. He can't. That's the problem with him. Like I know, and I know we're gonna dive into more, but like it, when you're already looking at it, you're looking
like
at
he's
him.
already in a position of power, and
I know.
and he can do something about it. They're not in positions of power. They're in a position of they just have powers that literally they can hurt other people. I'm not hurting anybody.
Yeah, right.
But that's how he views it.
Oh, I know that's how he
I'm
views
not
it.
saying it's wrong.
I know.
I
I'm
mean,
just telling you. It just
and now
like, yeah, right.
Now he's like literally saying, "I've created a zone, and now we're going to rehabilitate people that are afflicted with this horrible problem."
So the two words here, ready, that are air quoted, uncontrollables, and then rehabilitate.
Right.
So you're telling me that you're going to rehabilitate these uncontrollable people.
That's how he branded it as a humanitarian effort, and that's
of course
publicly that's how he's framing it. He's framing it as a humanitarian effort to rehabilitate, because society, one, they don't care, and two, they don't ever get to see what happens inside.
Right.
So whatever happens inside, I mean, it's a prison, it's a war zone, it's a graveyard. Like I says, it's all at once. So to me, like, he wasn't necessarily destroying lives, he was saving them. So every time like he rewrote that reality, I think he really thought like he was improving it. He was protecting humanity from its own evolution. Convincing himself like deviants were a mutation, they were a sickness. The world's DNA had shifted, and that's where he named himself the Purifier, because he was simply cleansing the world of this sickness.
Well, and ready? Here we go. Right here, the last little bit here. And the people, they believed him, because in the version of reality, he made sure that they would. So the fact that he was like, he in this case, he is the ultimate propaganda machine, because he can do whatever the hell he chooses and pleases. Because again, right. And this also kind of ties in, I feel like, to like kind of like the big corporations like today, right? So like when you look at, like when you consider a monopoly, right? So like when you look at Disney or like the oil companies or some of these other places or whatever, like they have all this money and this power. He just has it. I mean, granted, he might have a lot of money too, but like the fact that he can just write the narrative and change it in a whim that it makes it easier for him and makes it, look like everyone else is the bad guy and he's this good purifier, this one that's trying to save the world in a sense. It's mind-boggling, because like in the same sense, like I said, you could think of like how nowadays, you son of a bitch, and you blame me for that. Anyways, I just think it's funny that, this guy is like, hey, we're going to be the best of the best. We're going to be doing this and that. And like, nothing's wrong with us. But at the same time, it's like, I know we're going to get into it, but it's like, it's so hard for me to look at him and be like, yep, you know what? Yeah, his name, like it's ironic that his name
definitely has a problem.
Clearly, he's got a lot of things going on with him.
He's definitely a villain. He's definitely, whether it's narcissism, whether he's a sociopath or a psychopath, like he's definitely got a problem. But like I said, I don't think like he really views himself as the villain. I think he really does think like the world after the flare has, like, the flare caused a sickness in people, and somebody has to step up and cleanse this sickness. And the only way to cleanse it is to separate the sick people from the healthy people. And this is where the zone we are going to rehabilitate in this humanitarian effort. And this is where like he creates like literally his own army. He changes the reality so that literally Congress and he has no, like literally no one opposes him because he changes that reality.
True. I was going to say two things. Ready? Far Cry 5, Down with the Sickness. Hold on. Think about that for a second. Far Cry 5, the fact that you're talking about Joseph Seed and all that shit. That's exactly what's similar to that. And then I'm thinking of like Disturbed, Down with the Sickness. Because just as a joke, you're like, are you down with the sickness? You know, like you're like, no, in this case, I'm not, because he's trying to make sure that the world's everything's, better for everyone else. I'd be like, no, I'm down with the sickness, man. Let's go. Let's kill this motherfucker.
Well, you clearly would be Apex.
You're damn right I would be. And who would you be?
Codex. That'd be Codex, man.
No, I don't want to be Codex.
No, what about Tremorjack? Or
I probably, out of anybody, I probably would be Alloy. To be honest.
Really? Just so we're clear. Ready? I'm not saying that you couldn't be. Oh, hold on now. Even though the character is written as a black guy, does that mean if
I'm looking at the powers, not the color of
okay. Well, I'm just asking. No, I'm just asking because we didn't mention that, but I just figured I'm just asking. But okay, if you're just looking at powers, that's fine.
I'm looking at powers. But
Okay,
anyway, so Lucien Crowley, he's the AKA Purifier. He is 43.
Mm-hmm.
Marital status is widowed, or so the public believes, and that is that should be in air quotes too, because his spouse is Evelyn Crowley. She is deceased. Obviously, that's because he's widowed. But there are rumors that she disappeared without explanation.
That's a very interesting story without even knowing that piece. It's like, well, I don't know, but we're going to find out later.
Or will we?
Will we? Yes. And then apparently this children thing, none publicly acknowledged. So that means there's lingering information out there that
there could or there might not be. Who knows?
In Matt's case, he probably knows. He just doesn't want to see shit.
I don't know. I didn't come up with the bio, so I don't know. So Pre-Flair, he's a visionary entrepreneur, founder of Vireon Corporation, formerly in biotech and defense contracts. Post-Flair, he is supreme executive authority of the largest private military tech conglomerate on Earth.
Hailed as the man who restored global order.
Yes.
Okay.
There you go.
Right.
I mean, backstory, Lucien Crowley was always 10 steps ahead. Before the Flair, he's a charismatic disruptor in the tech world, blending genetics, predictive AI, and global surveillance tools to safeguard the future.
Hey.
Air quotes. Vireon was the golden child of post-pandemic security, vaccine IP, behavior modeling software, and even private security contractors. Quietly, they bought up real estate, mineral rights, and defense infrastructure. When the solar flare hit, much of the world descended into chaos. Lucien didn't. He adapted, or rather, he evolved. No one knows exactly when it happened, but after the flare, Lucien could speak changes into existence. At first, it was a minor security glitch, vanishing an underperforming asset suddenly showing profit, but it grew. He realized his words rewrote reality, and that the world would simply conform to whatever he declared. Over time, he used his power to reshape history, memories, outcomes, even public perception. Every lie he told became truth, every threat erased by decree. But with each reality, he crafts a new Echoverse, splits off. An unintended byproduct of his changes. He doesn't see it, he can't. In his mind, he's fixing what's broken, purifying the timeline into what it should be.
And then his good old powers, right? Or his basically powers and abilities. So reality command, verbal thread manipulation. It's a very interesting set of words there.
Yeah.
Spoken alteration. Anything Lucien declares with certainty becomes real, past, present, or future. Okay. And then timeline fracturing. Every declaration splits off a new Echoverse, hidden, unintended copy of reality branching out. Memory gaslighting. That's a good one. Here we go. Alters global memory. People forget events that no longer happened, air quote. Even those closest to him shift seamlessly into the new version. I like the word gaslighting. I like how they use that word, memory
So
gaslighting.
that's like, I mean, that's like whenever Aston Kutcher made changes in the butterfly
Oh,
effect,
yeah.
and then they went into like like he went back in like the actual time, and then nobody knew the previous
right, besides him.
version, and then but he knew everything that had happened, and he was like, "What, you don't remember like that we were just eating at this restaurant?" And they're like, "What are you talking about?"
What are you talking about over there? And you're like, are you crazy?
Yeah.
Like, yep, I am.
Yeah.
And then perception control can create false narratives so strong that they override logic or recorded truth. That's interesting. And then echo immunity. Only a few deviants are immune to the memory shifts, like Codex, making them threats.
Yeah, Codex and the mentor.
Yes. And then public persona, charismatic savior. To the world, he's the hero who stabilized the planet. Bullshit. Anyways. And then billionaire visionary runs Vireon like a blend of Apple, Tesla, and BlackRock. What the fuck is BlackRock?
It's a huge company.
Oh,
Like
clearly, I just
yeah.
couldn't. I didn't really know.
You'd have to look it up,
I
yeah.
clearly have to look that one up, but I know the other two. Anyways, media darling. Look at that, darling. Didn't this media darling? Anyways, darling. We got a handsome, composed, quoted like a prophet. Think Tony Stark meets. There you go. Think Tony Stark meets Lex Luthor. That's a good analogy right there. That is. That's a nice one. I do like that.
So private truth. So that was the public persona. This is the private truth. This is like what you don't see when he's in his office by himself.
Well, that top one right there, before we go forward, is basically what I've been saying this entire time.
So delusional messiah complex believes he alone can guide humanity to peace.
There you go.
Emotionally detached, sacrifices individuals without a second thought for his greater vision. Air quotes. Oblivious to damage, unaware that he's fragmenting the multiverse and accelerating collapse. And then fears irrelevance. He's deeply terrified of losing control or being forgotten, which feels his need to be the author of reality.
Wow. Talk about a complex, huh? Talk about a lot of things.
So his vibe, elegant tyrant, god in a suit, prophet of control. And I don't know if it, I mean, this can't really be his vibe, but played by Michael Fassbender, delivering charm layered over cold precision with flickers of something unhinged beneath the surface.
The only thing I can think of is like when he played Magneto, in that sense. Like that's kind of like that cold, witty thing that I'm thinking of in this case. That's the only thing I can come close to regarding some of the roles that I can think of off the top of my head.
But it's really just, I mean, this guy. This fucking guy.
This fucking guy.
This fucking guy. I mean, come on. I mean, Vireon Corp. I mean, one, it's the most powerful entity on Earth post solar flare. I mean, a tech industrial super conglomerate. I mean, if you think a corporation, anything bigger, I mean, maybe Umbrella, maybe.
I mean, maybe, but I was also when I think of a corporation, I mean, like a lot of the big corporations now, like a Microsoft or
but I mean, it's not like a huge. I mean, we're talking like the most power. I mean, post solar flare. I mean, there's not a bigger corporation. I mean, but that's in a movie, I would say like Umbrella Corporation, like literally was making medical stuff. They were making food, drinks. They were making.
Right, because they'd have to be in so many markets. That's the biggest thing.
I mean, they were making consumer products. They were making corporate products. They were making medical products. They were making everything. Like
the problem is there's not many companies that are even at that level.
Yeah,
because there's very few that even come close to that. I mean,
you can't break through. I mean, if you're a corporate, you have to make like if you're in medical, you have to stay in that medical. Like you can't just break into. Oh, we're going to, yes, we make medical equipment, but we want to make food
and other things.
Like, no, you can't start making food. Oh, but we're making food and then drinks. And then we're going to.
We're basically make supply and demand a real reality. Because like, now, if you think about it, I mean, this is just kind of like New England based, but like, think about our energy needs in New England. Eversource is the biggest at least in New England. So like, when we think of energy, like, they're the only ones that become close because everyone else is like but again, it's like taking a monopoly, but probably quadrupling all that power.
This company stepped in when the government's faltered.
Right.
And
because they
publicly,
didn't
they
know.
claim to have restored order. There's a lot of air quotes in this one.
I love
know.
the air quotes, man. I really do. I think they did a good job.
But after the chaos, they providing stability and infrastructure and leadership. In reality, they privatized control of the planet. They turned cities into surveillance zones, weaponizing the population divide between deviants and normals. I'm going to change that to normies because I like that word.
Normies.
The deviants and the normies. Headquartered in a futuristic black glass skyscraper, Vireon is structured like a corporate empire with a military backbone. It funds its own private army, runs global data networks, controls everything from food distribution to identity records. At its core, Vireon is built on one unspoken truth: control the narrative, control reality. And I was telling John, I just recently watched V for Vendetta. If you haven't seen it, it's a really good movie. Hugo Weaving is in it. Natalie Portman is also in it too.
Yes. And we're talking about I was going to say the movie, I believe, came out in what, early 2000s or
I think it's like
90s?
Early 2000s. Yeah, somewhere around that time. But if you look at that movie and you look at the government, I mean, it's very, I mean, it takes place in the UK, but it's very like Nazi Germany-esque in the way that the government and parliament is controlled. Like no music, there's no art. If you're different in any form or fashion, you're basically taken to a holding cell where they torture you and eventually kill you. And it's very much the same in this regard. I mean, if you're a deviant, you have no rights, and you're thrown into the zone where you basically are probably killed. I mean, I'm sure the zone is like any other prison. I'm sure there's gangs of deviants and different factions and different.
Yeah, and I mean, granted, this is a concept. So I mean, if anyone ever wanted to rewrite some of those things, then of course, you have to ask us permission. But you'd have to add in things and do whatever.
But,
I know that's whatever.
But I mean, I think the government setup and the corporate setup would be very, very similar. Where Vireon is really just they're controlling the narrative not through fear and violence, although they're controlling it through the deviants that way. Where in V for Vendetta, they were using fear and violence as a whole through the city. Through the UK, that's what they were using to control the population. They're controlling the reality in general to control the narrative, but it's really kind of the same idea where Vireon is taken over basically for the government and saying, this is how we run things now. We're taking all of the junk people and we're putting them over here. And you guys are the good people. We're keeping you over here. But you good people that don't have powers or anything, you're staying over here. You're good.
No, but again, this is where I also, and this is why I said it earlier. I mean, this is Nazi Germany all over again because.
But here's the thing: is I think it's like, but you good people, if you're housing some of these bad people, we're going to come in and we're going to kill you all.
Yeah. And what you just described was literally Nazi Germany
Right.
again, because what you're saying is that's exactly pretty much, not to a T, but like it's pretty damn close because again, whether you're good, whether you're, in this case, a deviant, like it's.
And this is, I think, where that fear comes in because it's like you have these families. We said it in the last episode where the families of these deviants, and not just our main characters, it's all the deviants that exist in the story.
Right.
It could be hundreds. It could be thousands.
Could be probably millions.
It could be millions, depending on the size of the city. I mean, if you saw the concept, it looked like a big city like LA or something, which has millions of people.
Right.
Now you're talking all these people. Yeah, I would be in fear of going, I do not want these frickin' death squads coming in here and just shooting up the house. So you need to get the fuck out of here
and go find somewhere else to live, right? Which would be the zone,
right. Even though, like, yes, I would still love this person, but not at the risk of killing the rest of like my kid,
family, basically, the entire everything else. But
because that's basically what they're saying is like, if you have this person living at your house and they're a deviant, we're coming in and everybody's dead.
well, and here's the worst part, right? So when we talked about every character in the last episode, so like literally when this is going on, and when these like Kodaks, Tremor Jack, all them, and they can't even go into their house or go like visit their children or go whatever, because now they're looking at them as like, okay, you need to get out of here. You're a terrorist. I don't trust you anymore. Get away from my kids, even though they're their kids as well. And they're now, they're facing consequences. But again, all because Lucien over here is like, they're terrorists. Get them out of here. Throw them in a fucking jail cell. Throw them in basically a giant pit of bullshit and say, here you go. Here's your fight arena. Here's Fight Club all over again. And like you can duke it out anytime you want. But we're going to let these good people over here just let them be, because as long as they're not housing so-called deviants, we don't give a shit.
Right.
As long as you're following the rules. Right. So like that's where it all comes down to. Now, here's some of the things now these little key features, this mission statement for Vireon, if I was to take a guess here. To innovate, stabilize, and power a brighter future through advanced technology, global unity, and strategic restoration of order. No shit, because that's basically what they're doing. The true agenda: suppress deviance, rewrite reality, maintain corporate dominance. No shit. Yep, that is a definite yes.
So there are four main divisions. So this is surveillance and control,
Weave,
tactical enforcement, digital infrastructure and identity,
Cipher,
and then financial warfare and resource allocation,
Profit.
So those are the four main categories, and we're gonna now get into the Death Squad, which each of the four members have that's their domain. So they're like the directors of those four domains.
Yes, I only mentioned all those names right at the end because I was like, I'm just trying to be funny. Weave, Torque, Cipher, Profit.
Yes, so that's their code name. So the very first one is Director Mercer Vale. He is the Chief Operations Officer. He is his department is Global Deviant Surveillance and Control. He is played by Stephen Lang.
I gotta look him up because I don't know.
He's been in a lot of stuff. He's an older guy, but he's been in a lot of stuff. The latest thing I think is probably Avatar.
Oh yeah. This guy. Yep. Yeah, he was the so in Avatar he was the general.
Oh, he was a
dickhead.
Vile guy in that.
Okay. I could see that. That makes sense.
So Director Mercer Vale is Vireon's enforcer in chief, the man behind the curtain, coordinating everything from urban pacification teams to covert extractions and black site re-education centers. Quotations there. If there's a deviant on the run, Weave knows where they're going and what they're thinking and how to break them. So these guys, and I'll kind of say this: these guys do not have powers. They do not have any abilities. They were not, part of the deviants. They have, actually, what they do have is they have tech, and that's kind of their, what makes them elite is what their tech is. So Weave, and why he's called Weave is he has a nano thread combat suit. Constructed from experimental synthetic fibers, the suit enhances reflexes, near instant reaction speed, strength, enough to go toe-to-toe with most deviants, and endurance, reduces impact trauma and environmental fatigue. And his suit constantly recalibrates based on kinetic feedback, giving him a subtle edge in any combat encounter. So his personality and presence within the movie, basically, he's emotionless, clinical, and terrifyingly efficient. Speaks in short commands, never raises his voice. I don't know if that's true.
I was gonna say this. I mean, the actor that would play him. I mean, I'm not saying he couldn't, but I feel like, especially the roles that he's played, I don't think that would be correct.
I don't think that would be correct at all. I would say speaks in short commands would be somewhat correct,
But the raising his voice, like, come on.
I
Like,
think
he's
he would
gotta
be
definitely-
yelling all
oh,
the
yeah,
fucking
he'll
time.
be yelling at you constantly. But yes, his
Yeah, so his presence alone is enough to make soldiers snap to attention and prisoners confess. I could believe that,
oh yeah, absolutely.
especially if they do give him like that freaking scar that he had in
Yeah, an Avatar. Oh yeah,
Avatar. Oh yeah,
get that going.
Yeah.
You'll be seeing that for days.
you can do this next guy. This next guy
Oh.
was fucking frightening as hell in most things that he's in.
So this guy, his name's Finley McCrae, aka Torque. His title is Chief of Security and Tactical Operations. His department, of course, in the government, is Urban Response and Enforcement. No shit, he'd be like your ICE agent at that point. If I was to really take a guess here. Played by Tommy Flanagan. Now, if you don't know who he is, definitely I'm gonna tell
He's
you.
been in fucking every
He's been in
action
a lot
movie.
of. Well, I was gonna say, if you know Sons of Anarchy, yes, you look him up. I guarantee you'll know who he is because he's got a very distinctive scar that not many actors.
He was in a Captain America movie too, right?
Was he in a Captain America movie?
I
don't
thought he
think
was in. I thought he was in Winter Soldier.
Oh, maybe you can look that up. I don't know. I maybe he was. I know he was definitely like Sons of Anarchy. Really kind of like it really established his role.
I know. I just put Sons of Anarchy, Gladiator, Braveheart, and Smoking Aces. That's
Well,
what I put.
Braveheart, yes, especially. I was going to say. But anyway, so his role at Vireon, right? So his Torque is Vireon's first strike solution to deviant resistance. So when diplomacy fails, which is always, I love that, which is always, McCrae and his urban response teams. I love how it's called urban response teams. Anyways, crash in like a wrecking ball. I love that.
Crashing like a wreck.
ball. His special. I mean, that's bad.
Oh my
His
god.
specialty. Ready? His specialty? Turning riots into rubble. I mean, that makes sense. He leads frontline suppression units that handle mass deviant arrests, public disruptions, and anything the higher ups label as a threat to order. Yeah.
Disruptions.
Yeah, right. And a threat to order. And so it's to me, now hold on. Yeah, we're gonna get into this next part. But like to me right now, like when you're already looking at this guy, I hate saying it like this, but like if you look back in the 60s, he'd be that cop. He'd be that cop that would basically beat the shit out of anybody at that point, especially like during riots and things like that. I'm sorry, I mean I hate using it like that, but like that's to me like what he would do.
He definitely is that guy that is like, you have anybody that's like, hey, that's a public disruption,
Right,
And,
and it's
they're just coming in and like grabbing you and pulling your.
I don't know why I'm going to say this, but it just reminds like you know how like back in the 60s and the 70s, you know, they had the club, you know what I mean? Like he'd be the guy that would be like, smack, you know, like for some reason, like anytime anyone would be disrupted, he'd be like, hey, come here, smack, you know, or bam, bam, bam. Anyways, we're not gonna go down that rabbit hole again. But yeah, no, McCrae, you know, so again, his abilities and his tech, his kinetic charged exo armor, right? So a brutal reinforced suit that builds powerful momentum. So this kind of reminds me of like Black Panther a little bit, in the sense of like that kinetic energy, but accelerated strength. The faster he moves, the harder he hits. Damn. Okay. Momentum amplification turns sprinting into ramming, leaping into devastate. Wow.
I think that's probably why he called it like GPT probably called him Torque.
Yeah, no shit on that one, especially that one. Shockwave impact points, armor releases. I'm telling you, that's literally like Black Panther suit. That's exactly what it is. McCrae uses controlled chaos as a weapon. He doesn't strategize, he demolishes. So that's interesting. And then you got his personality and presence. A corporate war dog with zero filter. Yeah, no shit on that one, especially the actor.
Yeah.
Thinks rules are for winklings, lives for the fight. I feel like him and...
No shit.
Hold on. I feel like Torque over here and Weave would be going at it with each other all the time. That's just me.
I think they're. I mean, I think
They probably
they're
could be
made
best
for each
friends.
other. So
They-
they're
they
probably-
are.
I mean,
And then he's charismatic in a scary way, like a guy who laughs while flipping a car over. Well, that's great. And then talks in threats, smirks, and sarcastic one-liners. You love having him on your side and fear when he's not. Literally, he's that guy. I don't know why, but it just, and this is why it's going to sound random, but it reminds me of your least favorite Batman movie, but like the Joker, when he takes out the pencil. He's like, hey guys, you want to see a magic trick? And he takes the guy and goes, bam, right?
I wouldn't say it's my least favorite. I mean, I do like him as the Joker. I just don't like Christian Bale as the Joker.
Yeah, no, you don't. Well,
I just don't like the.
No, you don't like him as Batman.
I just don't like the barking Batman.
No, look. I was just saying. Look, I was only saying because of the Joker piece. Because, he's that like, I got you. Bam. Kind of.
No, I think he's the best Joker out of the ones that we've had in live action.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. You better be up. Yep. You better be right about that statement. But anyways, not
all right.
The point
So moving on to the next one. So Vireon, aka Cypher. Her title is Chief Information Officer, Data and Infrastructure Manipulation.
This is bad. That's bad. I just feel like in so many levels, especially nowadays with technology, oh yeah, she'd be your worst nightmare. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah. So played by Claudia Black.
I looked her up. I didn't really know who she was, really.
She's kind of an older school kind of actress, like back in the Stargate SG-1
that's what I was
days.
looking at. Yeah. And then was it Pitch Black? Was another one?
Pitch Black and Riddick.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So her role, Cypher, is the unseen hand behind the curtain. While others kick down doors and blow things up, Vera rewrites the truth. Not quite like Lucien, but she oversees all digital surveillance, identity control, and information warfare for Vireon. When someone disappears, it's because she made them vanish from every file, photo, and memory bank on the grid.
Again, your worst nightmare when it comes down to information.
Right.
Just that.
So she manages the Deviant registry, controls facial recognition systems, and edits the past to suit the present.
I'm telling you, man, this is bad. She can get real nasty real quick.
Yeah.
I already see this.
So her tech and abilities, a neural interface system, a surgically.
Matt's not speaking today.
I know.
Surgical.
My brain is not working no more.
It's at its full capacity.
A surgically embedded processor that syncs her brain with global data streams.
There you go.
Wow. Real-time data control. She can hack, alter, or lock down networks in seconds.
I can't even imagine doing that.
Surveillance override hijacks cameras, sensors, satellites, even personal devices. Data identity manipulation. Erases, rewrites, or fabricates digital profiles at will.
She can make it just like that without just like a snap of a finger. That's basically
So
it.
check this one out too. Remote defense uses drones or AI countermeasures with thought commands.
Dude, it's like if you took Mysterio with that, the drone thing that he did in the movie, and just making it now think of thousands or fuck, I don't know, hundreds of thousands. I don't know, so many drones just coming right at you, even with missiles and shit. I mean, imagine doing that.
One of my characters had a power like this.
What character are you talking about?
In my book.
Oh, sorry. Yes, you are right. Yes, in Matt's book that I will admit I have not read all the way through.
One of my characters had a power like this. But yes,
you did. Yes, you
he
did.
can control drones with the power with the amulet that he had. But yes, so Cypher doesn't just hack systems; she owns them. So her personality and presence, she's terrifyingly efficient. Ice cold demeanor, doesn't raise her voice, doesn't need to. Speaks like everything is a calculated move because it is. Emotionless but not cruel. She's the ultimate protagonist. Perfect storm of genius, detachment, and control.
And then the last and final guy, Damian Reich, a.k.a. Prophet.
Mm-hmm.
So this guy, I'm going to say this. This guy was played by David Desmakian. There we go. This guy was Polka Dot Man. I know that from Suicide Squad.
This guy's been in fucking everything.
He's been it, but it was funny because I looked him up and I was like, wait a minute, where's this? I'm like, the name doesn't sound familiar. But when I looked him up, I'm like, I know that dude. And I looked up Pokemon, or the Pokemon Man. No,
Pokemon, the Pokemon man.
Pokemon Man. No, the Polka Dot Man. In that, and I'm just thinking of other movies, but he's got a weird, wacky tone to him, but that's just me. But like, anyways,
He's Mr. Moneybags.
he's Mr. Moneybags. He's Mr. Chief Financial Officer, and he is the asset and control and economic manipulation. No shit. So he controls the money. He's behind the machine. So he doesn't need guns or powers. He weaponizes capital. So think about it like this. It's like, okay, you know what? Here, you know what? I'm gonna hire a hit squad. Don't worry. I'm gonna give you guys $1 million. Let's go. And like he just, whoop, there you go, no problem. With a team of analysts and a hyper-intelligent predictive AI at his command, Damien bankrupts Deviants, shuts down resistant networks, and funds Vireon's Black Ops teams under the guise of emergency budget reallocations. I like that. Emergency budget allocations. So basically, they're like, oh, well, we got to have our quick response teams, but emergency budget reallocations because we're going to make sure that everyone's funded. But fuck everybody else. He's the reason rebellions fail before they start because they run out of money. No shit. So again, his tech and abilities. So he is, again, the quantum predictive AI, a financial algorithm that stimulates economic shifts, forecasting societal disruptions before they happen. That's pretty impressive. Imagine having something like that where you can just manipulate money in a sense. Bank account lockdowns, there you go, can freeze deviant-linked funds worldwide. Asset seizure, right? So he's got leverages international loopholes to claim land, tech, and supplies. False investment schemes. Oh, there you go. Manipulates markets to collapse an enemy infrastructure without firing a shot. False investment schemes. I love how it's the abilities, right? And then private funding shells. Launders money through legit companies to bankroll the death squad and Vireon military ops. Profit doesn't fight the war. He pays for it. Damn. And then his personality and presence, right? So he's smug, he's self-satisfied, speaks like he's always 5 steps ahead because financially he is. He treats people like data points, often referring to casualties as write-offs. As write-offs. Okay. His smile never reaches his eyes, believes every human decision is ultimately driven by cost-benefit analysis, and he always controls the cost. The fact that he says casualties as write-offs starts off that conversation of, wow, they want to talk about numbers. That's literally
Well, it's
just
basically like treats people as data points and casualties as write-offs. And then one of the very next things is every human decision is driven by cost-benefit analysis. And he controls the cost, which is basically a write-off.
Right, again. And I'm like, seriously?
Basically, he doesn't care about shit.
Yeah, he just cares about the money.
Yes.
And I'm like, damn, you want to talk about a pompous asshole? There's your definition of one right there.
So if you want to look at the 4 of these guys and then you look at Lucien, no wonder why you're saying these guys are villains because, well, they are.
Like, yeah, they fit the roles, they fit the casting. And I mean, it makes sense because, you look at all these characters. I mean, yes, without them, literally, I don't think Lucien could have a chance on anything. I mean, granted, yes, his words could say whatever, but like he still needs people to literally back his decisions and still be able to still control the narrative. I mean, you need to have somebody in economic, control. You need to have the information, especially, IT in a sense or information in that sense. You need that. You need to have your tactical operations. You need to have some sort of security. Like those are all like, and that makes the most sense, especially in the sense of what he's doing. And so with him being a corporation, conglomerate, or whatever the hell you want to call it, and he's basically supplying literally everyone, including the governments and everything else in between. Yeah, he needs all that shit. And without them, if you killed all 4 of them, I'm not saying he probably couldn't make it, but like he'd be screwed. Like he wouldn't probably know what to do at that point. He could do whatever he thinks he's going to do. But if you start getting rid of the money, you start getting rid of information, security, that kind of shit, you're fucked.
Well, and I think too, I mean, you look at Lucien Crowley, obviously Mercer Vale is the second guy. Like he's the second dude.
Oh yeah.
Right? And then McRae really is your security tactical operation.
These are like your guard dog, right? He's like
he's the guy that really leads these urban response teams. So you're really talking like they have their military force, which probably are these response teams.
Either that, or I would say even McRae's teams, depending on security wise.
I mean, he's really like leading these teams, but each one of these teams would have their own individual leaders, and we haven't gone that far as to cast people for those. But I mean, you would have your own military leader people to lead these teams, and they would be the ones going out into the city and even going into the zone to probably try to squash what was going on if they got wind of like a resistance, or trying to find who the mentor was if they learned that the mentor was even in there.
Well, I mean, and then you know when you talk about McRae, or you talk about Weave and Torque, right? But like if you even flip it on the other side, like Prophet, I'm trying to remember. I literally just read her name. It was
Cypher.
Cypher, sorry. So Cypher and Prophet, like those two, yes, they have a team of their own. Like you're looking at analysts, in the sense of like financial, right? And then you're also thinking of like, okay, information. Like you need to hack. You need a team of hackers, right? So you have a team of hackers and financial analysts in a sense. And yeah, you're going to need those in between because you want to know information immediately, especially if like those teams are out and about, right? And if like especially the financial guys, they'd be like, hey man, we just found some money over here, go check them out or whatever, right? Then they all can again work together as a team.
I could see Cypher having like her own kind of like team of like drone pilots.
Well, that, and like I said, and
like
her own team of hackers or whatever else.
Drones just flying over the city, just tracking.
Right. And I mean, and then again, alerts the security teams or alerts the, the urban response teams.
Right.
So they're always constantly together working as a team in a sense. So they all have to be on the same page and they all have to kind of work together, whether they like it or not.
This movie's fucked.
I mean, villains wise, yeah, it's fucked. We're all like, yeah.
I don't know how these guys are like even get to the point of the end of this movie where they, you know what I mean? Like,
well, it depends on how long the movie is going to be, depending on how long they want to make it be.
I mean, I can see how they get captured and I can see how they get thrown into the zone, but it's one of those things like, yeah, damn.
I know it is damn because I mean I
really wish like this movie could be made because this movie
it could be
sounds really good. Like
no, it could definitely be a very well written movie. A very story driven. Has a great concept. I mean, the plot, the characters, the
what
story.
I really wish is if somebody was listening or somebody wanted to reach out to us.
Oh, here we go. I love how you look at me when you say,
all I'm saying is if somebody out there was, say, a local comic book writer or an artist.
Oh, here we
or
go.
Both.
Okay. And what, made a comic book out of this?
I could see this being a really good comic book series.
Oh, you're right. You know what? You're absolutely right. It could be that. It could be listen, it could be a book.
We have enough information right here to make it a really good comic book series.
Right. Well, think about it, right? We have the concept. It could be a comic book. It could be a book. It could be, at this point, it could be whatever the person wants it to be. I mean, it's just the concept. And so if you make it that way and if it gets big enough and it's, selling, I'm just going to throw it out there, especially if it's a comic book. I mean, if that's the case, then run your imagination wild. You know what I mean? You can make so much. You can make a universe out of this. You could. I mean, you could do whatever you wanted. We just gave you an idea. Now, granted, it depends on who this person is. I know. I love how Matt was looking at me. I know nobody else can see what he's doing, but like,
I'm just saying. I mean, if anybody else was listening and they have an idea and like,
you want to reach out,
we could collaborate and be like, hey, let's make this a reality. Once this actually becomes like a real thing and it's published and it's real, it becomes a real thing. Now nobody can take the idea and then. Hey,
run with it, yeah.
I mean, even a book, like the minute this whole story becomes like a full-fledged book and it's published,
it could be.
Now nobody ever can steal it.
Right, and that's the problem.
Right now, people can just be like, "Hey, that's a great idea. I'm going to make a movie now."
And I know when Matt looked at, or it was funny. We talked about this earlier. He was like,
"Son of a bitch!
Somebody stole our idea," and I'd be like, "Bitch, we came up with this idea. Listen to our 3-part episode on literally called the Echoverse." And the fact that you stole the name too.
I mean, nobody's made our show Biofracture yet, so I guess.
Yeah, well, that's good.
I guess that's pretty good. So.
Well, I mean,
I don't know.
We'll see. But anyways. guys and gals. I know we've been talking about this for so long here, but
I do really, really enjoy these AI versus Hollywoods. But you know what I am going to enjoy,
what are you
though?
going to do? What are you going to enjoy?
When we get to our 80s, 90s, and 2000s quarter, because our very, very next AI versus
Hold on.
Hollywood.
Are you sure you want to do that right now? Was that
I
what
want
planning?
to at least not talk about the whole concept, but I
Okay.
do want to reveal what we're doing because I am pretty excited about what we're doing, and I want other people to be excited about what we're going to be doing.
Before you do that, well, let's preface this, right? So we both had to come up with an idea regarding the 80s, 90s, and 2000s. And so we were kind of talking about it. We collaborated a little bit, and we were like, what would make the most sense if we were to, make a movie or a TV show or whatever.
Rick Rod.
Yeah, no, that was your idea. That wasn't even. No, we're not going down that rabbit hole. You want to listen to that? Talk to Matt directly. My thing is like we were talking about it. Yeah, man. So we were like, man, because we both joked around like in the 80s, 90s, and 2000s, especially the early 2000s, like nobody really made a good like video game adaptation, and we've talked about that in the past. And so we were like kind of looking back, and we're like, man, we're thinking of different games or different things that were going on, and so of course. We were trying to think of one that would be really good, and we came up with a few, video game ideas, and then one just really, really stuck, and we were like, you know what?
Really stood out, yeah.
And I think we were both like, you know what? I think if this actually was made today, this could do pretty well. So I wanted to preface that because we really did kind of try to figure out what was the best version of this because I can't remember all of the ideas that we came up with, but I'm going to let Matt now tell you what this idea was that now we're going to be talking about.
Well, I mean, I think there were three. One of them was like, no, absolutely not. But I think the other, one of them was,
it's been a while since we were talking about it. I can't remember.
I think one of them was Metroid.
Oh, it was, yes. No, you're right. One of them was Metroid.
And then I think the other one was one that's, I think it's already going to be either a show or a movie.
I think, yeah, because we both looked that up and we were both kind of like, man, we don't really want to
I don't want to do something that's already like they're already working on it. And then
the Metroid, we were like, you know what? No, because we don't. No. We've already talked about aliens and all that robotic shit. So we were like, what about this?
The other topic that came up, and it was like, you know what? Like
this sounds weird.
I remember these games, and I absolutely thought that they were wacky and chaotic, but they were fucking hilarious.
Right.
They play exactly like Ninja Turtles or X-Men,
back in the day.
In the day. And the game was Earthworm Jim.
And again, so if, the people that actually own Earthworm Jim, if you hear this, we're actually trying to give you an idea, not so much take away from the idea.
So yes, what we're going to be doing within the 80s, and this will be sometime either September, like maybe mid-September, early October. That's where
I would say probably October-ish if I'm taking a guess here, but yeah.
Our next AI versus Hollywood will be a brand new story for an Earthworm Jim movie.
Yes. Now again, this is a concept. This is only like,
we're not making a movie. It's just a concept movie that
this would be a good idea for like a movie pitch, right? So like, that's what we're doing. We're trying to make it as, so like if we were to go to an executive, like here's the idea.
Outside, I think of Earthworm Jim, it'll be brand new characters, brand new story, brand new everything.
Right. So if you wanted to rebrand it or whatever, like this would be the golden opportunity. And this is what we were thinking of if that was the case. But yes, we've been talking about this for so long. I will say that, I do enjoy these AI versus Hollywood. I know Matt and I do because, we have our own creative imaginations with this. And I really do and think that ChatGPT really does a great job of giving you a full narrative and giving you those concepts because even so far with Biofracture and now Echoverse, two totally different ideas, two totally separate things, but like great ideas that can be easily manipulated into a perfect Hollywood ideal, or like basically what we would think old Hollywood should be again, and that's why I always say, I'm telling you, Matt, I will fucking do it. There needs to be a shirt that says follow the blueprint. And that has to be our thing. We have to make a fucking shirt, man. It's got to happen. I'm just saying it right now. Go ahead. What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do?
I'm not doing nothing. I'm just
Oh, you're just sitting there. Okay.
I'm just sitting here.
All right. But anyways, yeah. So just know that we love you guys. We appreciate everything you guys do. But until next time.
What life do I have to get back to? Like, you want me to fight for a life that that it's not really worth fighting to begin with.
Honestly, I'm surprised he didn't go and work for Vireon. You know what I mean? Like, he has that mindset in a sense. Like, that's
but Vireon would ask him to do the same thing. So I think he's just. I mean, I think he's kind of fucked either way. Like, I think he does want. Obviously, like he does want to spend time with his kid, but I think he feels at that point where. I mean, obviously that it's the PTSD that really does affect him.
Well, I mean, no shit. I mean, that could affect anybody, at least in that sense.
But I think I think really it's the kid that drives him more so than anything else. Like,
yeah. No, I mean, it makes sense.
The possibly maybe it's you can get back to having that academy. Getting back to training people, getting back to that life, that can be like, this is what your motivation is. Like, do you want to go back to training people and having that outlet again? Or do you want to just go back to living in a ditch and...
Yeah, pretending to live. I mean, yeah. I mean, I get what you're saying. I mean, but again, he's one of those ones that, I mean, I would say for anybody listening right now, he's one to watch. I would say he's one that you'd probably want to watch, especially in a story like this, like, because you never know what could happen, especially with his mindset. And then the good old mentor, who, hold on, ready? I'm gonna spoil it. Okay, the casting for this one was very surprising.
And we haven't even gotten to the casting yet.
I know
we have to go through this one real quick to get to the casting.
I know, but can I just mention him? Just this one. We're not mentioning everybody else, but just this guy, just real quick. So this guy, okay, if you remember, well, if you ever played Far Cry 6, to be exact, or let's say, I don't know, shit, he's been in so many goddamn movies. I'm trying to think of what other things, but
I mean, Breaking Bad, The Boys, Captain America, Brave New World, Mandalorian.
He's been in a lot. Point is, his name is Giancarlo Esposito. So if you don't know who he is, look him up. I'm telling you. He's a great actor. I think he does a wonderful job. So I was very surprised that they wanted him to be the mentor here, but go for it.
So yes, even though it did give him a last name, and I was kind of against the last name because I don't know if it really makes sense. I mean, it's not like you would spend a whole lot of time with this character anyways, but
no, I mean, I guess having that backstory might help a little bit.
So yes, the mentor, which is his code name. Another code name that we tossed around was the architect, which I don't know if that really works for the movie, but so his real name is Father Elijah Rahm. Which is Rahm. He is unmarried because he is a priest in the Catholic faith. He is American, more in particular, Afro-Caribbean.
We're going to try this again.
Caribbean.
He's a former priest. Get it right. He's not a priest anymore.
He is still a priest.
To a degree. Just saying.
Just because you're a priest doesn't mean you're a former priest. You're still.
Well, no, I know, but you said former. Hold on, it said former priest right here, so I don't understand.
I copied it from ChatGPT.
Well, then it screwed up.
Just because you're a priest does not mean you're a former priest.
Well, I mean,
maybe you're a former priest because you probably no longer work for the Catholic Church, but you're still a priest.
Okay, fine, whatever.
But he is American, but his nationality is Afro-Caribbean heritage. So yes,
I find it interesting that this is the only one that didn't actually this is the only one that ever mentioned the ethnicity or nationality. None of them ever mentioned like what the race or anything.
Yeah, it didn't, but I don't know. Whatever this one did.
Whatever.
So pre-flare occupation, yes, he's a Catholic priest, professor of theology.
Yes, professor.
His affiliation is he's been thrown into the zone, and he is he is with the resistance in the underground deviant network. Backstory: before the solar flare, Father Elijah was known as a scholar priest, a quiet but respected theologian who taught ancient religions, philosophy, and metaphysics at a Jesuit university. He was deeply spiritual, but never dogmatic. His lectures were legendary. Legendary.
Legendary. Sorry.
Packed with students, rich with moral debates, and infused with a genuine curiosity about the divine. He believed God existed not just in scripture, but in memory, language, and pattern. So when the flare hit, Elijah was leading an evening prayer at his small church, but something in him shifted. He blacked out for hours. When he awoke, he began seeing things no one else could see. Memories that didn't belong, fragments of people that never existed, timelines that hadn't yet happened. While others assumed he was having visions or divine prophecy, Elijah knew better. The flare not only altered him, it had connected him to a hidden layer of reality, a layer that Lucien Crowley was manipulating. The more the purifier rewrote the world, the more Elijah could see the seams and hear the echoes.
So his true power, right? So it's really the reality perception / echo sight. Now, this character kind of ties in with the whole, I guess, movie, if you think about it. So really, it's Elijah seeing the world not as it is, right? But as it was and could be. He perceives timelines as branching paths, fragmented memories, and overlapping truths. This makes him one of the only people immune to Lucien's manipulations without Codex's touch, which, like I said, he's another important part to the story. And so with his abilities, right, attached to his power, so he's got echo sight. So he sees the lingering echoes of altered timelines of what reality used to be before changes occurred. Again, he's the only one that can do this. Memory anchoring can mentally anchor others during moments of emotional instability, helping them resist reality shifts. So that's kind of nice. So like if someone's like literally like grieving or upset about something that's like really major in their time, as long as he's touching them, that's nice. That's a nice thing. Psycho-spiritual insight can sense the emotional truth in others, knows when someone is lying, confused, or broken internally. Talk about a freaking like lie detector in a sense. I mean, that's kind of what I'm gathering from this. I mean, it's like, okay, so you're lying. Well, don't worry. Well, let's get the truth out of you. Temporal empathy can intuitively feel when the timeline is shifting or when something has been rewritten. He doesn't see the changes happening, but he feels wrongness when they occur. It almost sounds like he's doing a Yoda. You know what I mean? It kind of reminds me of that.
He's sort of almost like like an oracle. You know what I mean? Like he can sense like the emotional truth like in others, so he knows when people are lying, but he knows when things are shifting and changing.
No, I know, but I just find that interesting. That's what it reminded me of for a little bit. But then
he's like Santa.
He's like, oh my God, Santa. Let me talk, Santa.
Oh my God, Santa.
The fact that we went straight to that good old elf. Anyways, he has no offensive powers, but his insight and clarity make him the spiritual compass, a strategic guide for the Deviants.
Jesus.
And then, so his role in the story, again, the mentor becomes the first ally to Codex, one of the only people who didn't forget who Ethan was. He's a father figure to many in the zone, respected and quietly feared for how much he seems to know. Unlike the others, Elijah has made peace with his new reality, but because he accepts it, not because he accepts it, sorry, but because he understands it better than anyone else. He is the only one who's helped Ethan realize that his memory gift isn't just about unlocking his past, it's about giving people a chance to hold on to the truth, even when the world lies to them, right? And so while Codex has the power to reconnect people to who they were, it's Elijah who guides them toward who they need to become. That's okay. I like that little thing there. And so, his vibe, his personality, he's wise, he's centered, he's soft-spoken but unshakable. When he speaks, people listen. When he looks at you, it feels like he sees everything. There's a sadness behind his eyes because he knows he'll likely never see the real world again. But he carries hope because he's helping others find their way back. I'm going to tell you right now, that last part right there, that is what we call burnout. That is a true definition right there. Burnout. Because that's basically what he's doing.
I mean, I think if you look at like this character and then I mean, really the mentor, and then you look at Morpheus
Oh yeah, no, like I said,
from the Matrix. Like, it's the same thing. Like, you know that Morpheus has that same, like, it's almost the same thing. Like, you look at Morpheus, and you know there's that same sadness that that the mentor in that same line, the sadness behind his eyes because he knows that he'll never see the real world again.
right?
That's fucking Morpheus because he knows he'll never see that real world again.
No, you're right.
But he's helping all of the other people
get to that point.
get to find their way back to a better world, knowing that he's helping Neo.
I mean,
And it's the same thing for him. He's helping, Codex and all these other, deviants with getting Vireon
I mean,
and Lucien to stop what they're doing.
actually, I forgot who is Lucian. Oh, actually, never mind. We'll clearly.
He's the purifier.
No, never mind. I'm not going to go there for it. But anyways, no. I mean, looking at him as a character, I mean, it's pretty sad in its own way because
He's very much the Yoda in the story. Like,
yeah, he's definitely a Yoda. But I was just more saying about the fact that he's very passionate. He's very this and that. Like you want to talk about selfless service. That's basically what he is. Like he just defines that he's got this duty. He has this responsibility of saying, hey, you know what? I may never see what the world will likely be at some point, but I'm going to help everyone else get to that point. I mean, geez, I mean, no offense. I mean, this is like, it's like, I'm going to say it. It's like Jesus Christ. I mean, like you're a prophet. I mean, like that's kind of, I'm not saying he's like that, but it's close enough.
Yeah. Yeah.
As close as you can get. I mean, I'm not trying to compare it to the religious types, but I mean, in the sense of that, I mean, I'm not saying is, but that's, it's close, or at least close enough. I mean, I'm not saying he has to be that holy divine, person, but it's hard.
I would hate to say it, but I would think that he probably would die in the movie.
Yeah, probably early on.
Because of helping them escape from the zone, because there is a big fight where they escape from the zone. So that's where I would think he would die, and that's where I would think that's where that sadness comes from. But moving on to our final kind of piece before we
end the episode.
We're not going to get to the Vireon casting. We're just doing the Deviants because we will get to that one in next week's episode. But the Deviants, Ethan Stone is Codex, casting for that one. Lewis Pullman,
who was Bill Pullman's son. He's done a lot of movies too in the 80s and 90s for sure. So he's another famous one. But again, the son of him. He's done Top Gun, Maverick. He's done Salem's Lot, Thunderbolts, Stranger, Prey at Night. And again, yes, I know. I mentioned Bill Pullman's son here.
Yes. Jackson Davis. He's Tremor Jack. Shamir Anderson is the actor playing him. He was in John Wick 4. He's done The Marvels. And he was in Winona Earp, the TV show.
I haven't seen it, but I know he's kind of a newer actor in some ways.
He's fairly new, yeah.
And then you got Luke Morrow, so Apex, kind of our vibing guy here, So they casted him as Wes Chapman is the guy who was supposed to play him. So he's done The Escape Plan, The Extractors, The Escape Plan 2, Hunger Games, Mockingjay, Part 1 and 2, Ahsoka, and Tenet. Okay. I didn't know, if he was in Ahsoka. I didn't know who he was in Ahsoka.
It said Ahsoka, so I put it in there.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I guess clearly I didn't see him. So, yeah. All right, cool. And then you got Rachel Cole as Gollum. She is apparently casted by Julianne Nicholson, who I made the joke. I'm like, oh, is that Jack Nicholson's daughter? And he's like, no, I don't think so. There's similar names, but that's not the case. But yes, so she played in Law & Order CI, The Outsider TV show, and Boardwalk Empire. I don't think I've...
she's been in more TV shows.
Oh, yes, that was just kind of like...
Oh, yeah. So not a whole lot of movies, but Law & Order Criminal Intent was what she was in more so.
Oh, okay.
But The Outsider is fairly new, and then Boardwalk Empire, she was she was in.
That wasn't like I would say at least, I want to say that was about 10 years ago, I think, when that show came out. But anyway.
Theo Johnson, that's Alloy. Laz Alonso. He's fairly newer too, but he's up and coming.
Well, he's been in Fast and Furious. Well, wait a minute, he was in Fast and Furious?
Yeah, 2009.
Oh shit, I didn't know that. Wasn't he?
He was also in The Boys. He was in Jarhead. He was in Bones.
I didn't realize he was in Bones.
And then he was also in Constantine.
The movie or the show?
I believe the show.
Okay, because like The Boys, I mean, yes, we know he's Milk's maid, right? Or no,
Mother's Milk.
Mother's Milk. Sorry. And then Mentor, the archivist.
Yes, we did him already, but
yes, we already did Giancarlo Esposito. But yes, Breaking Bad, Far Cry 6, Mandalorian, The Boys, Captain America, all that fun stuff. But yes, again, interesting characters, interesting people that they casted for. You know, especially when you look at a concept like this, where again, AI ran this whole thing. You throw a few prompts in, they dive deep in all this stuff, and I mean, it's crazy. I mean, even the fact
really good casting, though.
Well, and it's random, and a lot of it's random. I mean, because like I never would have thought to bring in these characters, or at least these people to play these characters, and so it's interesting to see how, if if Hollywood was ever to do this, could we get these people or get similar people?
I think 100% you could get these people in.
Well, it would depend on if they would like the script.
And I think 100% Louis Pullman would pull it off, especially when you have, and I mean, I'll just give Michael Fassbender.
Oh, of course, you want to mention him
real quick because because Michael Fassbender and Louis Pullman would be the headliners of the movie.
True. Well, I mean, Giancarlo too. I mean, you could throw him. He's definitely a bigger.
I mean. He's also starring. I mean, you're going to see him not in the whole movie, but you're going to see Michael Fassbender and Louis Pullman throughout the whole movie.
True. And I know we'll talk about the others later, but yeah, I mean, there's definitely a good casting. I will say that. I think ChatGPT really did a good job of picking and choosing like who would be the best, people to be playing these roles. But yes, guys, we've been talking about this now for at least now. This is our second week. Third week now, we're going to be talking more about the Vireon Corporation, that casting, and talking about the characters, and kind of wrapping up the series, if you want to call it, because we got to move on to bigger and better things. We definitely are going to be excited about our next few weeks down the road, because all that's going to be is the 80s, 90s, and 2000s. Because we're going to be diving into that shit. And we definitely got some plans, man. We definitely got some episodes coming up, and let me put it this way:
I got a great one to kick it off too.
Yeah, I know, and I do remember that, and I also know that. Yes, let's just say that I'm hoping here that we can get some of our or hopefully other podcasts that we've been talking to, and possibly one that we've already done one with. Hopefully on another episode within the near future, so we're trying to get, like I said, we're trying to get more people on here, trying to push that narrative forward. And again, just try to get our name out there, cause we're just two dudes on two different mics, man. That's just, that's our vibe. That's the game, but anyways, boys and girls, we're finally done with this episode. We're going to be moving on to our third episode. So stay tuned till next time.
We're geeks from the multiverse.